Frieren Beyond Journey's End Season 2 has sparked a noticeable shift in online discussions, not because the anime has subtly changed, but because it has doubled down on the exact storytelling choices that already divided its audience, leading some fans to grow increasingly critical as the season progresses, especially those who expected Season 2 to expand, escalate, or emotionally intensify the foundation laid in Season 1.
One of the most common complaints voiced online is that the pacing feels even slower in Season 2, with fans expressing frustration that episodes continue to prioritize quiet travel, subdued conversations, and reflective pauses over tangible narrative momentum, creating the impression that the story is moving laterally rather than forward, a feeling that becomes more pronounced when viewed weekly instead of binged. This sense of stagnation is often paired with criticism of emotional payoff, as many fans argue that Season 2 revisits familiar themes, grief, memory, time, and regret, without significantly deepening or challenging them, leading to accusations that the anime is repeating its core message instead of evolving it, which can make moments that are meant to feel profound instead feel predictable. Frieren herself remains a central point of contention, as her minimal emotional expression and subtle internal growth continue to confuse or disengage viewers who struggle to perceive change, prompting online debates about whether her development is intentionally understated or simply too restrained to sustain long-term interest across multiple seasons. This issue extends to the supporting cast, with some fans feeling that characters like Fern and Stark are underutilized in Season 2, serving more as emotional echoes of Frieren's perspective rather than receiving arcs that actively drive the narrative or introduce new ideological conflict. Another frequent criticism revolves around the lack of tension and stakes, as Season 2 often avoids sustained conflict, high-risk scenarios, or dramatic turning points, causing some viewers to feel that episodes blur together and lack urgency, especially when confrontations resolve quietly without lasting consequences. Fans online also question whether Season 2 relies too heavily on atmosphere to carry episodes, arguing that beautiful animation, music, and mood sometimes mask the absence of strong narrative hooks, a concern that grows louder as the season progresses without a clear sense of escalation. Confusion is another recurring theme in fan discussions, as Season 2 continues to use time skips, understated transitions, and episodic storytelling without clear signposting, leaving some viewers unsure which moments are meant to be pivotal and which are simply observational, resulting in the common sentiment of appreciating the anime intellectually while feeling emotionally disconnected. This confusion is often compounded by fandom discourse itself, where criticism is frequently dismissed with claims that Frieren isn't for everyone, frustrating viewers who feel their concerns are rooted not in impatience but in unmet narrative expectations. As a result, dissatisfaction with Season 2 often becomes less about individual episodes and more about a growing realization that the anime's priorities may never align with what certain viewers want from a long-running series, particularly those hoping for clearer character arcs, stronger emotional climaxes, or more dynamic storytelling. What ultimately defines the mixed reaction to Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Season 2 is not that fans believe it has become bad, but that its refusal to evolve beyond its established rhythm exposes the limits of how much restraint, ambiguity, and repetition some viewers are willing to accept, turning Season 2 into a quiet but decisive point where admiration solidifies for some, while disappointment quietly sets in for others, ensuring that discussion around Frieren remains active, divided, and deeply personal across the anime community. And that turning point is exactly why criticism of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Season 2 has become more persistent rather than fading after a few slow episodes, because for many viewers, this season represents the moment when the anime's strengths stop feeling novel and start feeling routine, with online discussions increasingly framing Season 2 as a test of endurance rather than discovery. A common sentiment repeated across fan spaces is that the emotional subtlety, which once felt refreshing, now risks becoming predictable, as scenes continue to resolve through quiet acceptance rather than confrontation, leaving some viewers feeling as though the story is unwilling to challenge its own comfort zone. This concern deepens when fans point out that Season 2 introduces new settings, encounters, and ideas, but often integrates them into the same reflective structure without allowing them to meaningfully disrupt Frieren's worldview, reinforcing the perception that the anime prefers reaffirmation over transformation. Another growing frustration involves the lack of escalating emotional stakes, as repeated exposure to loss, memory, and passage of time without a corresponding shift in character behavior can make the themes feel static, prompting some viewers to question whether the series is intentionally resisting growth or simply circling familiar ideas. Fans online also note that Season 2's episodic rhythm can blur individual episodes together, especially when dramatic framing remains consistently subdued, making it harder to recall standout moments or emotional peaks, which weakens the sense of progression across the season. This becomes particularly noticeable for weekly viewers, as episodes that rely heavily on mood rather than narrative hooks struggle to sustain anticipation, leading to discussions about whether Frieren is better suited to binge-watching than seasonal releases. Another layer of dissatisfaction comes from the perception that Season 2 increasingly caters to an audience already aligned with its storytelling philosophy, offering little accommodation for viewers still seeking clarity, escalation, or emotional release, which can make the anime feel exclusionary rather than inviting. This dynamic has fueled defensive discourse within the fandom, where criticism is often met with appeals to patience or artistic intent, further alienating viewers who feel their concerns are being dismissed rather than addressed. Ultimately, what frustrates some fans about Frieren Season 2 is not that it lacks quality, but that it appears unwilling to evolve beyond its established identity, turning restraint into repetition and subtlety into sameness. And until the series introduces moments that genuinely disrupt its emotional equilibrium, the divide between devoted admirers and quietly disappointed viewers is likely to widen, ensuring that Season 2 remains one of the most debated chapters of Frieren, beyond Journey's End, not because it fails outright, but because it exposes the limits of how much quiet storytelling an audience is willing to embrace before longing for change.